New York City built a subway, not a long one, 1.8 miles, 3 stations. It cost $4.5 billion. That works out to roughly $2.5 billion for every single mile of track, about 10 times what most of the world pays to build precisely the same thing. And the reason why is not the reason you are about to guess, because everybody already has an explanation ready. America is a rich country. Rich countries have expensive labor, expensive land, expensive safety rules, expensive lawyers, expensive everything. Of course, a tunnel costs more here than it does in Istanbul. That story gets repeated by engineers, by politicians, by the people who sign the checks, and by absolutely everyone in the comments section. It is comfortable. It is intuitive. It lets every single person involved off the hook, and it is wrong. We know it's wrong because of who builds cheaply, and it is not the poor countries. Look at who is actually beating us. Sweden, Switzerland, two of the most expensive labor markets on the entire planet. Places where a construction worker is paid extremely well, where safety regulation is not exactly relaxed, and where nobody is winning by underpaying anyone. They build subways for a fraction of the American price. Researchers at New York University assembled a database of more than 900 rapid rail projects across roughly 60 countries. The global average comes out at around $350 million a mile. New York's next phase of that very same Second Avenue line is projected to land near $4 billion a mile. That is about 11 times the world average. Measured per kilometer, New York builds at roughly 20 times the cost of Seoul. And phase 1 of that line came in 8 to 12 times more expensive than comparable projects in Italy, Istanbul, Paris, Berlin, and Spain. Not 8 to 12%, 8 to 12 times. So if it isn't wages, and it isn't safety, and it isn't the rock underneath Manhattan, then what on earth is it? The NYU Transit Costs Project pulled the whole project apart. And the answer comes down to 3 things, not one of which is about how much a worker earns. First, the agency fired its own experts. By 2011, the MTA had cut its in-house capital projects group from around 1,600 people down to 124. Sit with that for a second. An organization that can no longer design or supervise a mega project has to go out and hire consultants to do it, and then hire more consultants to keep an eye on the first lot. On the Second Avenue subway, project management and design contracts alone came to 21% of construction costs, a fifth of the budget before anybody moves any dirt, and consultants bill by the hour, which means there is nobody in that room whose actual job is to make the job smaller. Second, overstaffing, not overpaying, overstaffing. The tunnel boring machine on phase 1 was run with 46 workers per shift, plus 29 managers watching them, when the people on the job said 30 could have done it. Across the site, the researchers counted roughly 1 supervisor for every 1.8 workers actually doing the work, a tunnel with very nearly as many people watching as digging. And third, my personal favorite, the stations. The station box at 86th Street is just under 1,000 feet long. The platform sitting inside it is 615 feet. The hole is 60% longer than the train that parks in it. Everywhere else in the world, station boxes run 3 to 20% longer than the platform. New York didn't build a station. It excavated a cathedral. And none of that is a law of physics. There is no geological reason that a hole under Manhattan must cost 10 times a hole under Stockholm. Every one of those numbers is a choice about who you employ, how you write the contract, and how big you decide to dig, which means every one of them can be unchosen. The same researchers put a number on it, around $200 million per kilometer, is achievable in New York. That's roughly what Italy pays. That's roughly what Sweden pays. And let me be extremely clear about what this is not. This is not an argument that construction workers are paid too much. The finding is about how many people are standing in the tunnel and who is managing whom. That is a management structure. It is not a wage, and the fix isn't mysterious either. Rebuild the in-house expertise you fired so that you're capable of arguing with your own consultants. Standardize the stations instead of designing every one of them as a monument. Neither of those is a moonshot. They are things other countries simply do, every day, without drama. But here is the part that actually matters. The worst cost of expensive construction is not the money you spend. It is the money you never get the chance to spend. The lines that quietly die on a spreadsheet before anyone ever draws them. At $4 billion a mile, very nearly every idea a city might have becomes unthinkable. Expensive construction doesn't just drain a budget, it quietly shrinks what a city is even allowed to imagine. So the next time somebody tells you that America simply can't afford to build things anymore, be precise with them. It isn't that America can't afford subways, it's that America has decided to buy them at 10 times the going rate, and then acts genuinely surprised that it can only afford one.